So if you're building a startup right now, especially in AI, you've probably noticed the old playbook is, well, gone. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful talk from a Y Combinator event that's all about the absolutely critical, kind of mind-bending questions every single founder should be asking themselves.
And you know what's so great about this is how it kicks off with this just incredibly honest admission. And this isn't weakness, right? This is actually the only place to start. That feeling of being completely and utterly confused, in tech, that's the signal. That's how you know you're standing at the very beginning of something huge.
So this great confusion, as we're calling it, brings us to our first big idea. We're seeing this massive shift away from a world where you could kind of see the future, a world of long-term certainty, to something completely new, a reality of just radical short-term uncertainty. I mean, think about it. For decades, the whole game for a founder was having a vision, right? Seeing 5, maybe 10 years down the road and building towards it. Well, that's over. That advantage is just gone. And this slide really nails the difference. We've gone from planning in years to planning in weeks. We can't see the future anymore. Heck, we can barely see next month. Okay, so if you can't plan for the long term, what on earth are you supposed to do? This question right here is really the heart of this whole thing. How does this new reality force you to rethink every single thing you thought you knew about your product, your team, your whole strategy, starting right now? All right, so we've got this new reality of radical uncertainty on the table. Let's dive into how it completely messes with the two biggest pillars of any startup, what you're actually building and the team you're building it with. You know, the standard advice you hear is plan for what AI will be like in 6 months. But the speaker here says, nope, think bigger. Way bigger. The core assumption for your strategy shouldn't be about the next GPT update. It should be about the arrival of AGI, artificial general intelligence, and not in a decade, but in the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, that changes absolutely everything. And that leads to this huge fork in the road for your product. Do you take what you've already got with all its users and just kind of sprinkle some AI on top? That's retrofitting. Or do you build something completely new, something AI native from the ground up, and hope that first principles thinking gives you an unbeatable advantage even if you're starting from scratch? There is no simple answer here. And it's not just your product, it's your people. Everyone assumes teams are just going to get smaller, but the real question is so much trickier than that. Is a small, lean AI native team, one that's built from day one to use AI for everything, going to run circles around a giant company that's just using AI to cut costs? And what happens when what it means to be an AI native team is completely different a year from now? Okay, this next part gets to what might be the single biggest challenge in all of this. We're talking about the huge, complicated problem of trust. And let me be clear, this isn't just about technical AI safety. This goes way, way deeper. This is such a key point from the talk. The biggest thing holding back AI adoption, it's not the tech. It's whether we can trust the companies building it. We obsess over whether a model is aligned in a technical sense. But the much bigger question is, can you trust the company behind it? Is that AI agent they gave you truly working for you? And this lays out a scenario for how that trust could just completely evaporate. It's actually pretty chilling. See, in a normal company, you've got people, human guardrails. If the CEO goes rogue, someone can sound the alarm, quit, leak it to the news. But in a company that's semi-automated, those guardrails can disappear. One person, a single bad actor, could make one little decision, and the entire impact of your product could flip overnight, and no one would even know. So, if the human guardrails are gone, how do you rebuild trust? Well, the talk throws out this pretty wild idea. What if companies voluntarily signed up for ongoing, binding audits from a neutral AI system? Imagine an AI auditor that checks every single thing the company does against its public mission. And then, to protect privacy, it just wipes its memory. It's a radical idea, for sure, but maybe that's what a radical new problem needs. All right, let's get to the question that probably keeps every founder up at night, your moat. How do you build a business that can actually last? In a world where AI can copy pretty much anything, what does a real defensible advantage even look like anymore? No, seriously, pause and think about this. What is your moat when a competitor, in a few years, can just spin up a copy of your entire company with a single prompt to GPT-7? When it costs almost nothing to create software, what's left to defend? The answer, according to this talk, is a real twist. You have to get out of the world of pure software. The new moat isn't code. Code is easy to copy. The real moat is in solving the hard, messy problems of the physical world. We're talking atoms, not just bits. Things like infrastructure, energy, manufacturing, chips. These are the fields where knowledge isn't just on the internet for an LLM to scrape. It's locked inside people's heads and company processes. That's where you might find a real, lasting advantage.
And all of this, it all builds up to a final, really powerful call to action. It's about completely reframing what it even means to be a founder at this specific moment in human history. The speaker tells this story about how, after he lays out these huge society-level changes coming from AI, the very first question people ask is, okay, so how do we make money off this? And you get it, it's a natural, almost fear-based reaction, but it just completely misses the bigger picture. It misses this incredible, once-in-a-generation, maybe even once-in-a-species opportunity. So the big call to action is this: we need to aim higher. You know YCombinator's famous motto, make something people want? And that's great. But maybe the mission for this new era has to be different. It can't just be about building the next thing people will click on. It has to be about building what society actually needs. Things like trust, mental health, a future we can all believe in. And so that leaves us with this one last heavy question. With things moving this fast, this might be the last company you ever get to build, the last product you ship, the last time you get to make your mark. So the question for every single one of us out there building things is, what are you going to build?